You think the difficulties you face are signs of failure. You think the obstacles mean the dream is dying. You think the rejection, the struggle, the loneliness are proof that you are not enough. But I tell you this with the authority of experience. Every test you encounter is not a curse. It is confirmation. It is the universe whispering, you are being prepared for something greater. In all my years of study, through the lives of the greatest achievers who ever lived, I have discovered one unchanging law. Before every great victory comes testing. It is the invisible law of growth, the hidden rhythm of destiny. No one escapes it, and no one succeeds without it. Every great soul, or any man who has etched his name into the stones of history, has first been tested in the fire of discouragement, delay, and doubt. You see, adversity is not the enemy of success. It is the architect of it. It builds the muscles of faith, the backbone of persistence, the calm of self-control. A man cannot command the world if he cannot first command himself. And nothing teaches command of self like trial. The tests you face are not signs of rejection, but invitations to rise. They are the questions life asks of every dreamer. Do you truly desire what you claim to want? Will you persist when the applause fades? Can you still believe when nothing seems to work? The truth, my friend, is that success cannot be inherited, borrowed, or begged. It must be earned in the furnace of resistance. Life will not hand you greatness on a silver platter. It will hand you struggle and see what you make of it. The test is life's way of asking, are you ready to be entrusted with power? When the winds of difficulty blow, the weak see disaster. The wise see design. The wise know that storms are not sent to destroy, but to direct. They purify motives. They expose weakness. They strip away dependency on others' approval until the individual stands in his own authority. For what good is success if it collapses under pressure? What good is wealth if the man who holds it cannot hold himself? In my studies, I found that every man who rose from poverty to influence did so not because he was spared testing, but because he embraced it. They learned to see every obstacle as a signal. Their power was not in avoiding tests, but in transmuting them. The most important discovery of my life was that the human mind has the power to convert defeat into victory. Every thought carries a vibration, and every vibration creates attraction. If one meets adversity with fear, he multiplies more of it. If he meets it with faith, he transforms it into fuel. The test is not about the event. It is about the energy you bring to it. Remember this. The world does not reward mere effort. It rewards alignment. Effort without belief leads to exhaustion. But effort joined with faith becomes creation. Every test is an examination of that alignment. Are your thoughts, words, and emotions in harmony with your vision? If they are not, the test will repeat again and again until you master it. Many complain that life seems unfair, that they have done everything right yet still struggle. But life is not punishing them, it is purifying them. The delay is not denial, it is divine timing. The universe does not deliver your desire when you ask, it delivers when you are ready to receive. A man cannot handle success externally until he has achieved mastery internally. That is what the test is for. It ensures that your outer reward does not outgrow your inner strength. Adversity also performs another sacred function. It reveals your faith. It separates belief from illusion. Anyone can believe when all goes well, but it is only in the valley of darkness that true belief is proven. Faith, to be faith, must be tested. The gold of the Spirit must be placed in the crucible before it shines. The fire is not there to burn you. It is there to refine you. The one who learns to bless the test masters, life itself, because he ceases to fight against reality and begins to work with it, every blow becomes instruction. Every delay becomes direction. Every setback becomes initiation. And slowly, the man becomes invincible, not because the world no longer tests him, but because he has learned to interpret the test correctly. I have seen many men fall, not because they lacked intelligence or opportunity, but because they lacked understanding. They believed that struggle was a sign to stop, not to strengthen. They thought difficulty meant destiny had deserted them. But the truth is, the universe never wastes energy. It will not test those who do not matter. It tests only those who are destined to carry light. The greater your vision, the greater your tests. If you are to lead millions, you will be prepared in silence. If you are to build empires, you will first face emptiness. If you are to teach others courage, you will first taste fear. Life is just. It never gives the crown before the crucible. And yet, once you understand this law, once you stop asking, why is this happening to me? And instead ask, what is this making of me? You will feel a power unlike any other. Because now, even pain has purpose. Even loss becomes gain. Even delay becomes destiny. The man who knows this no longer begs life for ease. He asks only for wisdom to see. Every test has two roads, resentment or revelation. The resentful man curses the storm. The awakened man learns to sail it. The resentful mind says, this is too much for me. The awakened mind whispers, this is perfect for me. One remains trapped in complaint, the other rises in command. The difference lies in attitude. A positive mental attitude, my friend, is the shield that turns every arrow into opportunity. It is the invisible armor of the soul. It cannot be taught by books alone. It must be born in battle. Every test is there to develop it. Let me remind you of this eternal truth. Every defeat, every heartbreak, every disappointment contains a hidden seed of equal or greater benefit. Your task is to find it. Most people never do because they are too busy focusing on the loss. They do not realize that the test was not meant to destroy them. It was meant to reveal the wisdom they carry. In the silence of struggle, you are being shaped. In the loneliness of effort, you are being molded. In the confusion of chaos, you are being aligned. You are not being buried, you are being planted. And when the season is right, when your faith is matured, when your vibration matches the level of the dream, you will rise, not as the same person who once begged for the breakthrough, but as one who became the breakthrough. I have watched men of vision crumble under pressure, and I have watched ordinary men rise to extraordinary heights, and the difference was never in talent, it was in temperament. Those who fell believed the test was the end. Those who rose understood it was the beginning. So when the storm arrives, and it always will, stand still. Do not panic. Do not curse the heavens. Take a deep breath and remember, this is not the universe working against you, it is the universe working through you. The test is not punishment. It is prophecy. It is the signal that the old version of you is dying so the new one can be born. And when you emerge from that fire, the world will look the same, but you will not. You will speak with calm. You will move with certainty. You will live with quiet authority. Because you will know that everything that once tried to break you was secretly building you. The test is not the barrier. It is the bridge. It is the passage between who you were and who you are destined to become. That, my friend, is the sacred truth. The tests you face are not signs of your end. They are signs that your success has already begun. The man who has never faced opposition has never truly known himself. It is in the midst of resistance that one's true strength, faith, and endurance are revealed. The test is the mirror through which character is reflected. Adversity exposes the hidden weaknesses that success would have concealed, and it strengthens the virtues that ease would have left undeveloped. Life, in its infinite wisdom, knows that a soul cannot expand without resistance, just as a muscle cannot grow without strain. Every test comes to measure your readiness for the next level of purpose. The very moment a man declares a great ambition, forces are set in motion to test that declaration. These forces are not malicious. They are mechanical. They are part of the natural law of growth. The moment you set an intention, life responds. Let us see how much of this man's desire is real. And so the test begins. The weak are offended by the test. They take it personally. They say, "Why me? Why now?" But the wise understand that the test is never punishment, it is partnership. It is life aligning the inner and outer worlds, ensuring that the dreamer is molded into the dream. A man cannot manifest abundance if his mind vibrates with fear. He cannot command opportunity if his emotions are ruled by doubt. The test comes to correct this imbalance. It strips away the unfit beliefs, the unexamined assumptions, the quiet insecurities that would have sabotaged the dream. The test refines you, not to make you suffer, but to make you suitable. Life will never give a great destiny to an unrefined spirit. The untrained mind would destroy in prosperity what it refused to build in adversity. That is why so many fail when success finally arrives. They have not yet become the kind of person who can sustain it. They wanted the fruit, but refused the soil. They desired the crown, but rejected the cross. And so, when abundance came, they could not hold it. The foundation was too weak. The test was skipped. In my years of study, I have discovered that the tests of life fall into patterns. They come in three great forms: loss, delay, and contradiction. Loss teaches detachment, the ability to remain whole even when things fall away. Delay teaches patience, the art of keeping faith alive when time becomes the enemy. Contradiction teaches trust, the strength to believe when reality presents the opposite. Every man who has achieved greatness has passed through these doors. Loss strips away illusions. It teaches the soul that power does not come from possessions, but from presence. When a man loses what he thought he could not live without, and yet continues to rise, he learns that his worth was never in the thing, but in the being. Delay, on the other hand, teaches mastery over emotion. It tests whether desire is shallow or sacred. Shallow desire fades when results are not immediate. Sacred desire deepens in the waiting. And contradiction, that is the most difficult of all. It arrives when life presents evidence that mocks your belief. It asks, can you still hold your vision when everything around you denies it? Those who answer yes become creators of destiny. No test ever leaves you the same. You either emerge bitter or better, hardened or humbled, broken or built. The difference lies in perception. When you see life as happening to you, you suffer. When you see it as happening for you, you transform. Every test offers two gifts, pain and perception. The pain is immediate. The perception is eternal. Most people focus only on the pain and miss the lesson that could have made them free. The law of compensation ensures that no test is wasted. Whatever is taken temporarily is restored with interest to the one who endures with faith. But endurance does not mean idle suffering. It means intelligent persistence, the ability to act with purpose even when the outcome is unseen. The man who keeps his mind fixed on faith while his circumstances argue otherwise becomes magnetic. He begins to draw new resources, new allies, new ideas from the unseen. The energy of persistence bends the laws of probability in his favor. I have seen this law at work in the lives of every man I have ever studied. Edison failed 10,000 times before discovering the light that illuminated the world. His tests were not defeats, they were refinements. Each failure carved away another false method until only truth remained. Henry Ford was mocked, betrayed, and bankrupt before his vision became a global industry. His test was not rejection, it was redirection. It was preparing him for the responsibility of revolution. Tests never arrive without reason. They are perfectly timed by the invisible intelligence that governs all life. The universe does not waste energy on the unready. It will not send trials to those who are not capable of triumph. If you are facing hardship now, it is not a signal of weakness, it is a compliment from the universe. It means you have been chosen for expansion. And expansion, by its nature, must first feel like contraction. The caterpillar must dissolve before it flies. The seed must crack before it grows. The iron must melt before it becomes a blade. The man must be broken before he becomes unbreakable. The test is simply the dissolving of the old self, the cracking of limitation, the melting of fear. Most people want the butterfly's wings without enduring the cocoon. They want the crown without the cross. But nature does not operate that way. Transformation demands tension. The greater the destiny, the deeper the pressure. Pressure is not your adversary, it is your ally. It reveals your true form. A positive mental attitude is not blind optimism. It is intelligent faith. It is the discipline of the mind to look beyond the surface of events and see their hidden structure. When adversity strikes, most people react. They panic, complain, or retreat. But the one who has trained his mind to see order in chaos becomes unstoppable. He knows that the storm is not the signal to surrender, it is the announcement of change. Tests always precede transition. Before life elevates you, it examines you. Before new blessings arrive, old attachments must be released. The test ensures that what you receive does not destroy you. For if you are not emotionally mature, the very success you prayed for will become your undoing. The student of life must learn to recognize when the test begins. It often comes disguised as inconvenience, a closed door, a failed plan, a sudden silence. That is when most abandon their purpose. But if they could only pause and listen, they would hear a question beneath the noise. Will you keep believing? Will you keep moving? Will you keep your vibration high even now? That is the secret of every master of success. Emotional constancy. No matter what occurs, they maintain faith, focus, and frequency. They know that energy attracts its equal. To collapse in fear is to multiply defeat. To remain calm in faith is to magnetize triumph. Every test demands this emotional mastery. It is not the event that defines the outcome, it is the energy you emit while enduring it. If your reaction is guided by fear, you strengthen failure. If your response is rooted in faith, you summon fortune. In every test there comes a moment, the breaking point, where everything in you will scream to quit. That is the gate of transformation. If you can hold your belief through that threshold, the universe will yield. Because tests are not meant to destroy, they are meant to measure. They measure readiness, stability, and alignment. When a man passes the test, he discovers something miraculous. What he once chased now begins to chase him. Opportunities appear unannounced. Doors open without knocking. Allies arrive without invitation. This is not luck, it is law. When you master the energy of endurance, life bends in your favor. The tests you face are not random misfortunes. They are the visible signs of invisible progress. They are the proof that life has recognized your potential and is preparing to enlarge it. Embrace them, and they will exalt you. Resist them, and they will repeat until you learn. Every test is a teacher. Every struggle is a signal. Every delay is a design. And when you finally learn to see that the tests you face are not walls, but windows, you will step through them into a life of quiet mastery, where peace is your foundation, purpose your compass, and perseverance your crown. For in the end, my friend, the test is not about whether life is fair. It is about whether you are faithful. And if you remain faithful, steady, patient, unwavering, success will not just visit you. It will live with you. There is a rhythm to the unfolding of all great destinies, and that rhythm always includes resistance. The greater the vision, the greater the testing. The laws of nature do not allow expansion without friction. The tree must push against the earth to reach the light. The child must push through the womb to enter the world. Everything that grows must first endure pressure. This is the sacred order of progress, and it applies as much to the soul as it does to the seed. Every test a person faces carries a precise intention. It arrives to awaken a dormant power. The untested man is unproven. The unproven man is unready. When life presents difficulty, it is not acting cruelly. It is simply saying, you have reached the threshold of growth. That threshold can feel like confusion, pain, or delay, but beneath the discomfort lies the call of evolution. Every man must cross it if he wishes to become more than what he has been. Tests, then, are the bridges between dimensions of life. They stand between the man you are and the man you are becoming. Those who misunderstand this principle resist the test, and by resisting they remain trapped in mediocrity. Those who embrace it, however, ascend. They use the pressure as propulsion. The very thing that others curse becomes the current that carries them forward. In my study of the great achievers of the world, I observed one common thread. Each one faced what seemed an impossible barrier before his greatest victory. Their lives were laboratories of perseverance. They were tested beyond measure, yet they refused to interpret those tests as signs of defeat. They understood a truth that the masses overlook. Adversity is intelligence in disguise. It is through adversity that life examines the sincerity of one's purpose. Talk is cheap. Anyone can speak of ambition. But when hardship strikes, when the plan fails, when friends disappear, when resources run dry, then life asks the only question that matters. Do you mean it? If the answer is yes, it will be shown not in words, but in endurance. The test of endurance is one of the most sacred trials a man can face. It asks not for brilliance, nor for strength of body, but for the strength of spirit, the ability to keep one's inner flame alive when all outer light has dimmed. Endurance is not stubbornness. It is not the blind clinging to an idea. It is the quiet certainty that beyond the darkness lies purpose. It is the confidence that the delay is not a denial, but a design. Patience is the twin sister of endurance. Together they form the invisible armor of the strong. Those who lack patience react to every obstacle. They curse time, demand results, and sabotage their own progress through agitation. But those who possess patience move in harmony with life's rhythm. They understand that growth cannot be rushed, that all things mature in their appointed season. A man who has mastered patience has mastered power. For patience is not passivity, it is poised strength. It is self-control in motion. The patient man does not waste energy in complaint, he conserves it for creation. His calmness is not indifference, it is confidence. He knows that while he waits, life is working in his favor. Every test carries a message, and patience allows one to hear it. Impatience creates noise. Patience creates clarity. When chaos surrounds, the patient man listens. And in that listening, he discovers what most never hear, the whisper of divine direction. For in silence, intuition speaks, and intuition, properly trained, never lies. In every man's journey, there comes a moment when the tests intensify, when the weight seems unbearable. That is the hour of decision. Many quit there, believing the struggle means they have failed. But that is the final gate before victory. Life always tests the dreamer at the edge of breakthrough. It does so not to punish, but to prove. It must be sure that the dreamer will not collapse under the blessing he seeks. This principle is universal. The weightlifter grows only when the resistance is increased. The diamond is revealed only when pressure is applied. The flame of a lamp brightens only when the wick is trimmed. And so too must the human spirit endure the trimming of comfort before it can burn with brilliance. Most people fear the test because they mistake discomfort for danger. But discomfort is not danger, it is development. Growth cannot occur in the presence of ease. Ease breeds complacency. Discomfort breeds mastery. The man who learns to find peace within discomfort has found the secret of continuous success. He no longer fears change, for he has learned to transform it into power. I have often said that failure is a state of mind. No event is failure until it is accepted as such. Every test offers two choices: to interpret it as defeat or to interpret it as instruction. The interpretation determines the outcome. The same event that destroys one man empowers another. The difference is not in the event, it is in the attitude. This truth may appear simple, yet it is the foundation of all mastery. Attitude is the invisible hand that molds destiny. When faced with adversity, the negative mind asks, "Why is this happening to me?" The positive mind asks, "What can I learn from this?" One question closes the door, the other opens it. A positive mental attitude is not mere optimism. It is disciplined perception. It is the trained ability to direct one's focus toward possibility even while walking through limitation. It is the art of keeping one's inner weather calm when the outer world storms. It does not deny the existence of the storm, it transcends it. The man with a positive mental attitude becomes the alchemist of his own experience. He turns every trial into training, every loss into leverage, every delay into preparation. His secret lies in the law of polarity. Every negative condition contains the seed of its opposite. The test you face contains within it the opportunity for its own resolution. To see that seed, however, one must rise above emotion and observe through faith. Faith in this sense is not blind hope. It is the conscious conviction that intelligence governs all. It is the knowing that every detail, even those that seem unfavorable, contributes to the ultimate good. Faith transforms the test into a teacher. It allows a man to see that what appears as misfortune is often the universe clearing space for a greater blessing. This is why I have always taught that temporary defeat is not failure, it is feedback. It is nature's way of correcting direction. The man who interprets defeat as final stops evolving The one who interprets it as feedback adjusts and advances. Life does not punish, it instructs. It is the mind of man that turns lessons into suffering. The man who has trained himself to meet adversity with composure gains control over his destiny. For control begins within. You cannot command circumstance, but you can command consciousness. And when consciousness is mastered, circumstance bends in response. Every great leader, every genius, every innovator you have ever admired possessed this inner mastery. They faced tests that would have broken lesser spirits, yet they endured. Not because they were spared pain, but because they understood its purpose. They saw the test not as a sign to retreat, but as a summons to rise. When life tests a man, it removes his comforts. It isolates him from approval. It stretches him beyond what he believes he can handle. It is in that moment that he either collapses into complaint or climbs into courage. The choice he makes there defines his entire future. A man who learns to welcome his tests becomes immune to fear. Fear thrives on uncertainty. But when one understands that uncertainty is merely unrecognized opportunity, fear dissolves. The mind becomes clear, the spirit steady, and action aligned. Action, taken in faith during testing, carries extraordinary power. When a man continues to move despite confusion, when he keeps working while others weep, when he plants seeds in the midst of storms, he sends a signal to the universe that he is ready for elevation. The universe rewards that signal with synchronicity, with doors opening, people appearing, and opportunities aligning. What others call miracles are simply the results of aligned endurance. There is another law at play in every test, the law of equilibrium. This law ensures that no test comes without corresponding support. If the pressure increases, so too does the potential. The weight of your challenge is the measure of your capacity. If your test feels immense, it is because your destiny is immense. Life never tests small men with great trials. When this truth becomes your living awareness, your relationship with adversity changes forever. You no longer see struggle as opposition, you see it as instruction. You no longer run from it, you rise through it. You realize that the test is not an interruption of your path, it is the path. The man who embraces his test becomes unstoppable, because once you cease resisting what is, you move into harmony with the forces that create. You begin to work with life rather than against it. Energy that was once wasted on fear and frustration is redirected into focused creation. That is the true power of understanding. To know that every test, however painful, is a portal. It is not there to hold you back, but to push you through. Behind every door of difficulty stands the opportunity that will define your greatness. The moment you accept this law, peace enters the heart. The storms do not cease, but your perception shifts. The waves that once frightened you now teach you how to sail. The winds that once threatened to knock you down now carry you to new horizons. Life becomes a dialogue between you and the divine, a dance between effort and grace. And what happens when you pass the test? You are no longer the same. Something within you crystallizes. A new strength emerges, a calm certainty that cannot be shaken. You no longer seek approval because you have earned your own. You no longer chase validation because you have built conviction. You no longer fear loss because you understand that everything that leaves makes room for something greater. That is the invisible graduation of the soul, the point where the tests no longer terrify but testify. They become proof that life is moving you toward mastery. And mastery, my friend, is not the absence of challenge. It is the art of meeting challenge with faith, with focus, and with fearless composure. The one who learns this art becomes a master craftsman of destiny. He does not crumble under weight, he builds with it. He does not shrink from trial, he thrives in it. For he knows the eternal truth. The tests he faces are not signs of his end. They are signs that success in all its forms is drawing near. And that, I assure you, is no theory, it is law. There comes a point in every man's journey when the test stops being external and becomes internal. The storms outside quiet down, but a new one begins within. It is the storm of doubt, fatigue, loneliness, and invisible fear. This is the most dangerous test of all, not because it can destroy you, but because it can deceive you. The internal test whispers in your own voice. It says, "What if I am not meant for this? What if all this effort leads to nothing?" It dresses itself as logic and humility, but it is sabotage in disguise. Every dreamer who has ever risen to greatness has wrestled with this unseen enemy. It is the test of self-trust. External trials, the lack of money, the rejection, the closed doors, these can be overcome with action. But when the mind turns against itself, the man stands on sacred ground. This is where destinies are either fulfilled or forfeited. The average man quits here. He mistakes the silence of progress for the absence of it. He believes because he cannot yet see results, there must be none. But that is not how growth works. The seed planted in darkness cannot yet see the sun, yet it grows nonetheless. The soil of adversity is never silent. It is busy below the surface. This inner test is designed to strengthen the invisible faculties, faith, focus, and vision. It strips a man of external validation so that he might build internal certainty. For as long as a man depends on applause, approval, or outcomes to stay motivated, he is not free. He is a slave to circumstance. The test liberates him. It forces him to find his own fire. When that fire is found, he becomes unstoppable. Nothing external can shake the one who has mastered his internal dialogue, for he no longer draws power from opinion, he draws it from principle. He no longer waits for encouragement, he becomes his own encourager. And when a man reaches that state, life itself begins to cooperate with him. I learned this law not from theory, but from experience. During the years of my research for Think and Grow Rich, I faced countless tests. Financial ruin, skepticism, betrayal, each one came with precision timing. At times, I was tempted to abandon the work. There were days I felt mocked by fate. Yet every time I stood firm, something invisible would shift. A new ally would appear. A new idea would form. The path would light again. It was then I realized that the tests were not obstacles to the mission. They were the mission. Life was shaping me into the kind of vessel that could carry the weight of the message. Without those trials, I would have written theory, not truth. The test made the truth experiential, living, and undeniable. Every man must face such refining fires if he desires greatness. For greatness cannot be inherited, it must be forged. The fire does not come to burn you, it comes to build you. Steel is not strengthened by comfort. Diamonds are not formed in daylight. Power is not granted to the untested. But understand this, the test is not eternal. It is a passage, not a prison. It lasts only as long as it takes for the lesson to be learned. When the inner lesson is integrated, the external situation dissolves. The storm clears because the purpose of the storm is complete. This is the principle of transmutation, the ability to convert trial into triumph through understanding. Once you grasp the lesson, you no longer need the suffering. The energy that once opposed you now serves you. What was once a burden becomes fuel. The mountain you once feared becomes a monument to your faith. Tests are not cruel, they are precise. They target exactly what must be purified within you. If you fear rejection, life will send rejection until you are no longer controlled by it. If you doubt your worth, life will send delay until you affirm it. If you rely too heavily on others, life will isolate you until you realize you were never alone. Every test has an assignment to free you from a limitation that would have sabotaged your next level. So when you find yourself repeating the same struggle again and again, do not curse it. Ask instead, what belief is this trying to break? What strength is this trying to build? What truth am I resisting? For until the lesson is learned, the test will return, not as punishment, but as persistence. Many people pray for success, but few pray for strength. They desire the summit without the climb. But the universe answers prayers through preparation. When you ask for success, it sends you tests. Those tests contain the qualities you need for the life you asked for. To reject them is to reject the very thing you requested. The test is the proof of potential. It is life's way of asking, are you serious? Every test whispers the same question in different forms. Will you stay loyal to your purpose when the world seems to abandon you? If the answer is yes, even in silence, you pass. And every test passed upgrades your frequency, your magnetism, and your capacity for leadership. For leadership is born not in comfort, but in crisis. The world follows those who have mastered storms. People are drawn to those who have walked through fire and emerged intact because they emanate certainty. Certainty is rare, and in a chaotic world, it is irresistible. The man who has passed his test carries an invisible authority. His aura commands trust before he speaks. It is through this invisible authority that true power flows. You cannot fake it. You cannot purchase it. You can only earn it by enduring what others avoid. The masses crave the fruits of mastery, but they flee from the furnace that creates it. Yet it is only through the furnace that the raw ore of potential becomes gold. When life tests you, it is not measuring your comfort, it is measuring your capacity. It is asking, can you hold faith when logic fails? Can you stay calm when the evidence screams collapse? Can you remain kind when surrounded by cruelty? These are not minor tests. They are the exams of evolution. Pass them, and you will notice that life begins to trust you with greater responsibility, greater influence, greater abundance. Do not envy those who seem to have success without testing. Their structure is fragile, and the winds of life will reveal it in time. The one who is tested deeply is rooted deeply. When storms come, and they always do, the untested fall, but the refined stand tall. They do not merely survive the storm, they harness it. It is here that gratitude becomes your shield. Gratitude is not an emotion reserved for comfort. It is a weapon of the wise. To give thanks in the midst of trial is to declare mastery over circumstance. Gratitude shifts vibration. It turns resistance into resonance. When you can thank the test, you have already transcended it. There is a hidden law that governs this. Energy follows interpretation. Whatever you call a thing, it becomes to you. If you call the test a curse, it will curse you. If you call it a calling, it will empower you. The universe mirrors your meaning. Every label is a spell. Choose your words carefully, for they are commands to reality. When you speak from fear, you multiply confusion. When you speak from faith, you organize chaos. This is why every man must become a master of language. Not just the language he speaks aloud, but the language he speaks internally. The words you repeat to yourself during tests are blueprints for your future. The wise man uses affirmations not as decoration, but as discipline. When tested, he declares, "This is my refinement. This is my preparation. This is my confirmation that greatness is near." Those words are not empty. They carry vibration. They rearrange energy, align emotion, and awaken unseen allies. Tests respond to confidence the way shadows respond to light. They dissolve. But confidence must be authentic. Pretending to believe is not the same as believing. The universe detects sincerity. You cannot deceive the law of vibration. When your inner world and outer words are congruent, reality obeys. This is why emotional mastery is the cornerstone of success. The man who controls his inner climate cannot be defeated by outer storms. The test comes to see whether your emotions command you or you command them. Most people allow moods to dictate their days. Masters dictate their moods. When life tests you, breathe before reacting. Observe before judging. Align before acting. That moment of stillness is power. In that silence, intuition speaks, and intuition is the voice of the infinite mind. It will never lead you astray, but it can only be heard by those who are still inside. Understand, too, that every test has layers. When one is passed, another will appear, more refined, more subtle, more sacred. This is not cruelty, it is calibration. The higher the calling, the finer the tests. Each layer strips away another fragment of fear, another remnant of ego, until only truth remains. When you live long enough in awareness, you begin to see that every so-called obstacle is a coded opportunity. The betrayal teaches discernment. The loss teaches gratitude. The delay teaches devotion. Every trial trains you to move from reaction to response, from confusion to clarity, from dependence to dominion. In time, you will not wait for tests to end, you will welcome them. You will say, "Here is my next refinement. Here is my next expansion." That is when you know you have reached the state of mastery. For the master no longer asks, "When will this test end?" He asks, "What is this test revealing?" At that level, pain becomes teacher, struggle becomes sculptor, and opposition becomes orchestra, all playing the symphony of your becoming. And in that symphony, every note, even the dissonant ones, contributes to the final harmony. When that realization dawns, life transforms from battlefield to classroom. You cease fighting reality. You begin learning from it. You no longer resist change, you collaborate with it. You understand that everything, every heartbreak, every loss, every delay is serving your evolution. That is the mark of true wisdom. To meet the test not with complaint, but with composure. To look at the chaos and whisper, "Thank you for choosing me." For only those chosen for greatness are tested greatly. And so the next time the weight feels unbearable, remember this: you are not breaking, you are being built. The test you face is not the end of your story. It is the shaping of your strength, the refinement of your faith, and the confirmation of your calling. When this truth becomes your reality, you stop fearing the fire. You walk through it with eyes steady, heart calm, and purpose intact. Because you know what few ever discover, the test is not your enemy. The test is your evidence. It means that success is already on its way. There is a quiet hour that comes to every soul after the storms have passed. It is the hour of realization, the moment one looks back upon the long road of struggle and finally understands why it had to be that way. In that moment, the tests that once seemed cruel now reveal themselves as sacred. You begin to see that life never punished you. It prepared you. It never rejected you. It refined you. It never delayed you. It developed you. Every test you have faced was a seed of strength buried in disguise. The loss taught you to detach from illusion. The rejection taught you to anchor your worth in truth. The waiting taught you to cultivate patience. The contradiction taught you to trust unseen intelligence. Each trial carved away what was false so that only what was real could remain. That is how success is born, not from ease, but from endurance, not from comfort, but from character. Life never grants greatness to those who have not proven they can hold it. The test is the evidence of preparation, the proof that your soul is being expanded to match your destiny. As I have observed throughout my life, every man of power has walked through the desert of testing. No one is exempt. Carnegie faced humiliation before honor. Edison endured ridicule before revelation. Ford confronted collapse before creation. These men were not superhuman. They were simply steadfast. They understood the eternal law that says, endure the test, and you inherit the treasure. Let us be clear, there is no such thing as wasted adversity. Every ounce of pain, every tear shed in faith is deposited into the vault of growth. It compounds in silence and returns multiplied as wisdom, clarity, and magnetism. The one who has suffered with grace radiates a presence that cannot be imitated. It is not the pain that gives him power, it is his posture within it. The posture of the tested soul is calm, unhurried, inwardly rich. While the untrained mind panics in difficulty, the refined mind breathes and says, this too is for my good. Such composure does not mean indifference. It means understanding. Understanding that the test is an instrument of alignment, not annihilation. When you reach that level of awareness, you cease to ask, why is this happening to me? Instead, you ask, what is this awakening within me? That single shift in perception changes everything. The same storm that drowns one man becomes the wind that lifts another. The same mountain that blocks one man becomes the altar upon which another builds his destiny. Remember this eternal law. Nothing tests you unless something greater is calling you. The presence of opposition is proof of opportunity. The more intense the test, the more immense the transformation awaiting on the other side. The universe does not waste resistance on the unready. It challenges only those who are chosen for expansion. So, if you find yourself in a season of heavy testing, if your plans are failing, your resources thinning, your patience wearing, rejoice quietly within. Life is promoting you. The old structures are crumbling because they cannot contain the magnitude of your next chapter. You are being stretched to match the size of your purpose. It is in such moments that faith becomes your most valuable currency. Not faith in chance or luck, but faith in divine law. The law that ensures every cause produces an effect. Every seed yields a harvest. Every effort eventually finds its reward. You cannot always see it in the moment, but the invisible is already working in your favor. Tests do not block your blessing, they birth it. They are contractions before creation. The struggle you feel is the proof that something within you is expanding. The pain is temporary. The progress is permanent. And once the lesson is absorbed, life rewards you in ways that defy logic. Doors you once knocked upon open without touch. People you once pursued now pursue you. Opportunities that seemed distant begin to orbit your energy. Because energy never lies, The test, once passed, elevates your vibration. You no longer beg, you attract. You no longer chase, you command. This is not arrogance, it is alignment. The tested man does not posture, he radiates. His calm confidence is born not of theory, but of trial. His aura carries the frequency of someone who has met the darkness and made peace with it. You see, every test is a dialogue between you and the universe. It asks, can you hold your power when nothing goes your way? Can you remain gracious when misunderstood? Can you maintain gratitude when results are delayed? These are the questions that define spiritual maturity. The man who answers with patience becomes a vessel of power, for life cannot trust an impatient heart with influence. Power in the hands of the untested becomes poison, but in the hands of the refined, it becomes service. The true reward of testing is not wealth or fame, it is wisdom. And wisdom is the highest form of wealth. Wisdom cannot be inherited or gifted. It must be earned through the lived experience of persistence, humility, and faith. Once gained, it cannot be lost. It becomes part of your vibration, your essence, your aura. Wherever you go, people will feel it before you speak. They will say, there is something about this man. He carries peace even in pressure. That is the mark of one who has passed his test. Now, let me reveal one final truth. Every test in your life will repeat until gratitude is your first response. Gratitude ends the cycle. When you can bless the lesson without resentment, you complete its purpose. The energy of resistance keeps the test alive. The energy of acceptance dissolves it. Acceptance is not surrender, it is mastery. It means you have learned to work with life rather than against it. And once you begin working with life, everything changes. You no longer fight for success, you flow toward it. You no longer beg for abundance, you embody it. You no longer wait for approval, you approve of yourself. This is the summit of self-mastery, the state where life's tests become tools and tools become triumphs. Look around at the great achievers of any era. The secret they share is not luck. It is alignment born of endurance. They faced the same darkness you face, but they responded differently. Where others saw endings, they saw beginnings. Where others saw rejection, they saw redirection. Where others gave up, they gave meaning. That is the difference between those who fade and those who rise. The ability to find value in the valley. You do not need to enjoy the pain, but you must extract its purpose. That extraction process is what transforms a wounded soul into a wise one. Understand that the tests will never stop entirely. For as long as you are alive, growth will summon new challenges. But they will no longer frighten you. You will no longer cry, "Why me?" but whisper, "Ah, it's my next elevation." Because when the mind matures, it no longer seeks comfort, it seeks clarity. And clarity sees purpose even in the storm. The man who learns this truth becomes unconquerable. You cannot defeat a person who interprets every obstacle as advancement. You cannot discourage one who believes every loss carries hidden gain. You cannot break a spirit that knows it is being built. That is why the truly awakened walk through life with serenity. They understand the cosmic rhythm, resistance, refinement, realization, reward. When you embody this rhythm, you begin to live from a higher frequency. You no longer rush time, you cooperate with it. You no longer resist change, you anticipate it. You no longer curse the process, you bless it. And in blessing it, you accelerate it. There is an ancient wisdom that says, the test is the teacher and the teacher is love. Life loves you enough to test you. It refuses to let you remain small. Every challenge that shakes you is an act of mercy, a divine invitation to remember who you truly are. You were not born for struggle, but you were born to grow. And growth, by its very nature, demands testing. So when life seems to crumble, smile inwardly and say, I see you, lesson. I recognize you, preparation. And then move forward, not in haste, not in fear, but in faith. Because faith is the vibration that transforms adversity into achievement. At the end of every test lies transformation. The man who once doubted becomes certain. The man who once feared becomes fearless. The man who once begged becomes magnetic. He has passed not only through difficulty, but through death, the death of old patterns, old stories, old limitations. And in their place, something greater is born, power, poise, and purpose. That is the ultimate reward of life's testing, not money, not applause, but mastery of self. When you have mastered yourself, you have mastered the universe, for the outer world is only a reflection of the inner. The one who can keep his spirit clear, his attitude positive, and his faith unwavering has conquered the highest mountain of all, the mountain within. So let the world test you. Let it doubt you. Let it try to shake you. Stand firm. Because the more you are tested, the more you are trusted. The universe is not against you, it is for you. It is sculpting you, polishing you, preparing you for the stage of destiny. And one day, perhaps soon, you will stand where once you struggled, and you will realize it was never about the test. It was always about the transformation. The storms did not come to destroy you. They came to reveal you. The man who understands this walks differently. He speaks with calm certainty. He carries a presence that whispers to the world, I have been tested and I have been found ready. So when the next storm comes, do not tremble, rise. Do not curse the fire, walk through it. For the fire is not your enemy. It is your evidence that you are nearing greatness. And when you emerge, as you surely will, you will no longer need to chase success. You will have become success. You will embody peace, radiate faith, and carry the quiet confidence of one who knows the tests I faced were not signs of my failure. They were signs of my becoming. And through them, I did not break, I was born.